You know when you're walking around a gallery looking at beautiful Renaissance paintings and you spot a bowl of free mushrooms to eat? Anyways, now that you're tripping, the paintings start to come alive and suddenly you're dragged into a crazy world where divinities are tyrants, everyone needs you to solve problems and hunky nude men are wrestling at the beach. No? Well, you've obviously never played a game by Mr. Joe Richardson then. The Procession to Calvary is the newest game by this solo developer and is of a game genre that is very dear to my heart, the point-and-click adventure. The Procession to Calvary is a standalone game, but it does build on the world and story established in Joe Richardson's previous title, Four Last Things. And then we will change it to ourselves. Sing, 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 sing. Ta-da! This of course means that you can totally play the Procession to Calvary on its own, but it's an added bonus if you played the predecessor. I used to be a protagonist just like you! The first thing that springs to mind in the Procession to Calvary is the exceptionally unique aesthetics, which is something that hasn't really been done before. Okay, it's something that hasn't been done before if you're not called Joe Richardson. What makes the aesthetics of the Procession to Calvary so incredibly unique is that every piece of graphics is cut from Renaissance paintings, mashed together and animated into an incredibly funny world. Not only that, but the soundtrack of the Procession to Calvary is all classical music from the same time period to really finalize the expression. Small chamber orchestra playing Antonio Vivaldi's Chamber Concerto in F major from the top of a well-pruned stone pine. All in all, the look and feel of the Procession to Calvary leads your mind straight to Monty Python's animated sequences.
Behold, Arthur, this is the Holy Grail.
And if you're anything like me, you can't not laugh when you see anything Monty Python or anything that does a fantastic job at paying them homage.
What? What? What have you done to my lovely fourth wall?
And there was much rejoicing.
The Monty Python inspiration is something that imbues the Procession to Calvary, and it is done in all the right ways, from the look and story to the general sense of humor.
Close your eyes. How will I see the incredible thing if my eyes are closed? Close your dang eyes! Okay. Ta-da! Magician's assistant.
Talking about the story and humor, it is just as insane and weird as you would expect just from seeing the graphics, and I absolutely love it.
Ow! Oh my god.
You take on the role as an unnamed female knight with a hefty bloodlust after the Holy War has ended. Seeing as you won, there aren't any more enemies to kill except for the heavenly Peter who's escaped. And it's totally okay to kill him, of course, given all the suffering he brought upon the world through his church.
Yes!
So, you take on your self-employed task of bringing justice to Heavenly Peter. However, Heavenly Peter is a slippery fiend, and the journey includes crossing the seas, talking books, talent shows, deals with the devil, street magicians, and so much more.
Moo.
And at the heart of the story, of course, are the puzzles. They're done in what I think is the best possible way when talking point-and-click adventures. The Monkey Island way. What I mean by the Monkey Island way is that the puzzles are either really logical,
Sleeping guy, here is a lamb for you to cuddle with. Aww.
or really illogical, and mixing them together gives you a great flow of puzzling and moments of true satisfaction when you figure something out.
Ooh, I know how to make the gnome go faster. Whoa! I think it's time to pick up the pace.
Speaking of figuring puzzles out, the opposite is also a staple of the point-and-click adventure genre. What do you do when the player inevitably gets stuck? Here, the Procession to Calvary also excels with two awesome yet incredibly simple solutions. The first one is the inclusion of so-called hotspots. You press a button and markers show up on the screen indicating what can be interacted with and where you can go. I don't think this is a particularly new idea, but it just works wonderfully.
Oh, we could go over here. Oh, okay.
No more spending 3+ hours trying to find a twig to pull in the background which opens a door that lets you progress. The second solution is the more ingenious one, I think. Can't solve a puzzle? Kill the puzzler! It's so simple, but it works incredibly well in the Procession to Calvary because of the player's character who really just want to kill people. But be warned, because killing people comes at a cost. Things may not quite be the same when you return victorious from your journey of justice. But there, are there things about the Procession to Calvary that you didn't like? I hear nobody ask. Why yes, nobody. There are some things.
Now stand aside, worthy adversary.
'Tis but a scratch.
First off, I think the Procession to Calvary feels kinda short. The game is about 3 to 4 hours of gameplay, which is actually twice as much as Four Last Things. However, the world in which these two games takes place in has been expanded from just in and around a small town to a whole new country. Because of this expansion in world building, I was left with a feeling that the 3 to 4 hours wasn't quite enough, which is something I didn't feel when I played Four Last Things. Maybe this feeling of the game being a little too short also stems from the fact that some of the scenes in the Procession to Calvary didn't have a lot of interaction or puzzles in them, which I think is kind of a shame. I also found that the Procession to Calvary reused some of the puzzle designs from Four Last Things. I mean, when you have a game full of different art pieces, there of course have to be puzzles featuring the originals, so I'm not much arguing about that design decision. It just sort of has to be there. However, I would have liked the meta aspect of the puzzles being expanded upon, such as including a puzzle about the diegetic music. Because in the Procession to Calvary, the music is actually being played literally in the scenes with direct comments about what's being played. I really feel like this is a missed opportunity since the joke with the diegetic music is a super big part of the game world and humor. So yeah, I just would have liked to see some puzzles centered around the music. So, in the end, do I think the Procession to Calvary should take your money? Yes, I think it should, since I absolutely loved the Procession to Calvary. However, this recommendation does come with a caveat. I realize that the Procession to Calvary isn't for everyone. You have to either like point-and-click adventures like the Monkey Island series or Monty Python's crazy comedy. If you don't, I also don't think that you'll get your money's worth for buying this game. The Procession to Calvary is, in my humble opinion, an absolutely hilarious and wacky tale about bringing justice to a tyrant and his holy church. It's wonderfully silly, filled to the brim with clever puzzles, insane humor and meta-references to the real world. And let's not forget about the game's aesthetics, which is just so unique that you could instantly recognize who made the game, even if you had no idea about who Joe Richardson was. The Procession to Calvary is a great follow-up to Four Last Things and an impressive feat for a solo developer. So if you happen to like both the Monkey Island series and Monty Python, you're gonna thoroughly enjoy almost every minute of the Procession to Calvary. Except for the ones where you're stuck because you really don't want to kill anyone. But wringing your brain to find the weirdest solution, which is probably also the correct one, is really just part of the charm. It's all part of the charm.